Now, moving on to the first topic of the show, Antonio Brown, the Buccaneers, the outburst at MetLife. Antonio Brown, he refused to go back into a game, took his pads off, took his shirt off, threw it in the stands, and he just, waved to the crowd. What did you think of that moment? There are a lot of different information out there. There's a lot of different information out there on Twitter. Some say it's because Antonio Brown had incentives. Some were saying that he was hurt and he didn't want to go back in because he was that hurt. What are your thoughts on it? The Bucs haven't released Antonio Brown yet. They still have his rights, which is kind of weird in my opinion. But what do you think
Very
about that
interesting.
situation?
Go ahead, Drew. This is Drew's guy, so I'm very curious to hear his thoughts.
This is pretty difficult for me personally because I do like Antonio Brown. I am a fan of Antonio Brown, and over these last few years, it's been difficult to be an Antonio Brown supporter publicly, visibly showing him love, because what he does on the field is second to none. He's one of the best receivers the game has ever seen, and it's unfortunate that people are going to take away the negatives from his career more so than they're going to take away the positives. Antonio Brown should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. I'm not exaggerating when I say one of the most talented, one of the most hardworking individuals that this game has ever seen. However, his inability to a degree, keep it together and not put the team first has really halted the image of what people think about Antonio Brown. Now, in this specific instance, I'm actually going to defend Antonio Brown. He has had this ankle injury over these last couple weeks. He's been struggling to stay on the field with it. The Buccaneers as a whole have been banged up. So I can understand why the head coaches would want Antonio Brown, who already has suited up, has apparently the capabilities to return to the game. Now, Arians is asking him, hey, go into the game. He asked him not once, but twice. He's saying, hey, AB, go into the game, play. We need you right now. AB felt in his mind that he was not prepared to go onto the field. What are you going to say to a player when he tells you, hey, I just don't think I'm physically capable of going right now? This isn't an important game in the grand scheme of things. I understand that they were still fighting for the number one seed. If the Packers had lost, they would have had the chance to clinch that one seed or be in the position to secure the one seed and secure a bye. That being said, it's against the Jets. The Buccaneers are clearly the better team. It was not essential for Antonio Brown to go into the game. But nevertheless, Arians wanted Antonio Brown to get onto the field. Antonio Brown said, I'm not going in. I don't feel capable of going. And Bruce Arians apparently, allegedly, cut him on the sideline. Basically said, get off the field. You're off the team. Now, do I think Antonio Brown should have acted the way he did? Probably not. I mean, that was a little bit too much in my opinion. He took off his jersey. He was throwing a fit. He basically waved goodbye to the fans as a farewell tour almost. And that's pretty much what Antonio Brown's been, a little bit more about antics as opposed to football, even though I know that's not the case. I know that Antonio Brown, when it comes to being on that field, there are very few better than him, even still at this point in his career. It's just unfortunate that they've taken away from that. The whole incentives thing, I'm not thinking too much about it personally. I feel like that it was more so about Antonio getting into the game in that moment as opposed to them just saying, oh, we're not trying to pay you this $1 million. Because if that's the case, why is Arians telling him to get onto the field? I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm going to defend AB in this scenario. I'm sure there's been a few past instances where you really can't defend Antonio, but in this specific one, I'm going to.
I'll push back a little bit there because the Bucs needed Antonio Brown. They were losing basically the whole game. We'll get into Zach Wilson's performance a little bit later, but it's not like the Bucs were breezing through this game. This was a game they were coming from behind most of the time. So I definitely think they need him on the field. In the end, they ended up coming back and winning because they still have Tom Brady. They still have the better team when it comes down to it, but they definitely need Antonio Brown. It's hard for me. First of all, we don't have all the facts. It's just rumors and speculation we have out right now. Sure. But it is hard for me to believe Antonio Brown's side of things when we have years and years of antics, like you mentioned, and off the field issues. And on the other side, you have Bruce Arians, who's one of the most well-respected coaches in the league, who's someone that, players and Brady fight for and, enjoy playing for in quarterbacks in the past too. So I hope that that's actually the case where AB was actually just too hurt. I don't know why Bruce Arians would come out and, demand him to come on the field if he can't play. That doesn't seem like something any head coach would really do, or at least the training staff should come in and say, listen, he really can't play. It's interesting, though, because the play right before he got off, he absolutely mixed up Bryce Hall. He had him looking silly out there and picked up a huge gain before coming off the field. He could have heard it on that play or potentially walking off, jogging off, who really knows. Like you mentioned, AB is one of the best receivers to ever do it. When we originally got this topic, it's funny because it's Bucs release AB, and as Joel mentioned, they haven't released him yet. Now, I don't know if that's just, the NFL way to thing, the NFL way of doing things, how it comes to salary cap, how all of that gets figured out. That might be it. Or Tom Brady might be saying, hey, Bruce, we don't have Godwin anymore. We don't have Fournette's coming back, but he has a hammy injury. Ronald Jones just got banged up. We have all these injuries. I don't know if I want to rely on Tyler Johnson to be my wide receiver too come playoff time. I don't want to rely on Brashad Perryman. So Bruce Arians after the game said AB's cut. He's done. He's now on the Buccaneers. But it's been 72 hours now. He's still on the roster. So one side of me says, I don't think Bruce Arians is going to go back on his word. If he says AB is not on this team, he's not on this team. But, I mean, it's been 3 days now. A part of me is saying that Brady's been in his ear. We need AB. We want to go on a Super Bowl run. We need AB because he's arguably our best wide receiver. Mike Evans is the best over the top, but when it comes to reliability, AB is still one of the best route runners, has some of the best hands. He's still explosive. So locker room presence, maybe not the right guy, but if the Bucs want to make the Super Bowl run, they need AB to be on the field.
This is one of the many reasons that I already have that is added on to why I think the Bucs are not repeating this year. All season long, I have been very hesitant to pick the Bucs in any capacity when it comes to the playoffs because I simply don't think it's their year. For one, they've had so many injuries. You mentioned Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin is hurt. Their secondary has been injured all year long. Their defensive front has been in and out of the lineup. Leonard Fournette is injured. Gio Bernard, who they got in the offseason, I thought that was a really great pickup. He's been hurt. And now this entire dilemma with AB, before he came back, he was suspended for 3 games for having a fake COVID vaccination card, which is crazy in itself for having.
Yeah, it's a federal crime, actually.
Exactly. Like he was doing something that is illegal. Like it is illegal. He comes back and, okay, the Bucs were wrong in the way they handled the AB situation, telling him to go in the game. If that's in fact true, that he was hurt, they handled it the wrong way. But Antonio Brown didn't have to make that big of a scene. He didn't have to do all of that. What he did, now, that was reckless. It's been with what Antonio Brown has been these past couple of years. It's been reckless, documenting his release from the Raiders and being ecstatic once he got released from the Steelers, interviewing with a reporter on ESPN, and they made a big scene about that. He called out Big Ben. I mean, Antonio Brown has just had antic over antic happen, reckless behavior. And the other day I saw a clip of him farting in somebody's face. I mean, that was
crazy.
I am somebody that laughs at weird stuff. So, like, for example, I laugh at YouTube videos of people getting chairs pulled from under them. Those type of videos really make me laugh. So I won't lie. Antonio Brown farting in front of that doctor's face was hilarious to me. He did it twice. The first time he farted, it was like a little like, and the doctor didn't. It seemed like it bothered him, and AB was like, "Oh, my bad." And then 30 seconds later, he farts again. He let it rip that time. It was like, and he was like, and AB was like, "Oh man, my bad." So that, Antonio Brown. I don't want to speculate on the CTE stuff because I know whenever football players in general do things like this that's reckless, the first thing people say is CTE. CTE's hitting these guys quick. I mean, look, let's be honest right here. Let's just have a moment of genuine honesty. CTE is a very serious thing. And what it does to families, the football players, I mean, it damages lives. It damages the families of these guys' lives. It damages the lives of these guys' families. To joke around about CTE is not a cool thing. So I'm not even going to go there. But you do have to wonder, with all the hits that Antonio has taken with this reckless behavior, you do kind of have to speculate if maybe it is that. But I think Antonio Brown has shown this reckless behavior throughout his career. And this is just another instance of it, but this is why I don't think the Buccaneers are going back-to-back. I don't trust them come playoff time. Even if they do have Tom Brady, the Jets almost beat them, and the Jets outplayed them. It wasn't like the Jets got lucky. No, the Jets outplayed them with Corey Davis, Elijah Moore being out, Zach Wilson, a rookie. They outplayed the Bucs. They should have won the game, but Tom Brady, late game heroics, you can't really do anything about it.
I'm only going to give you a little bit of pushback right now, just with the fact that I remember very vividly the week after you took the Rams, you came onto the show and you said, man, one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made was picking the Rams. And you know who I'm going to go and I'm going to take? Go reliable. I'm going with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The only reason why I'm going to let you off the hook here is that they've had some injuries. And that's the only reason I can understand why you'd fade back and not think too highly of them. Regardless of that fact, they still have your boy, number 12, Tom Brady. They still showed, even though it was against the Jets, that when push comes to shove, that number 12 is still capable of getting them over that hump. So I'm gonna let you off easy here. But that being said, I know you know that you picked the Buccaneers at least one point in this season.
I probably did. Or I probably picked them over the Rams. I don't trust the Rams, and I still don't trust the Rams.
That's a mistake, man. That's a mistake.
You guys,
It's
so
not
what
a
do
mistake.
you guys think the Pats or the Bucs are going to release AB, or do you think he stays on the team?
I think the Bucs will eventually release AB, and if they don't release him, I would be shocked.
I think that if they were going to release him truthfully, why not release him that exact same day? What's the logic behind saying you're going to release him, and now it's been 4 days removed from the incident, and now there's still no word of him being released from the team, especially after the embarrassment that he showed the Buccaneers as a whole. Personally, I mean, if you're not going to cut him, why vocalize it as strongly as you did, and then on top of it, not even decide to pursue it? I don't know.
Josina Anderson tweeted that Antonio Brown, if he wants to, can have a job, and that's not an opinion. That's a fact. That's what she knows. So the Bucs they probably know there are some teams out there that they might be facing in the playoffs that they could potentially face that want Antonio Brown. And if they release him, they don't want him to go to one of these teams that's potentially a threat.
No doubt.
That's because I saw a couple of teams where the Packers and Rams that potentially, if AB did get released, those were teams that'd be interested in him. That's a hard personality to bring in week 18 or first round of playoffs. This is the most important time of the season. You're bringing in a guy with a ton of baggage to the offense and just the wide receiver room in general. That's a lot to overcome. So while AB is definitely talented, I think you look at the Packers and the Rams, they've had all the success this season. The Rams, in their case, with major injuries to their wide receivers already, they kind of replaced that. Some with Odell. Van Jefferson has stepped up. I don't know if they're going to go out on a limb like that, but Josina's really plugged in. So maybe it happens. I would be surprised, though.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. An interesting fact. When Antonio Brown got traded from the Steelers to the Raiders, do you know what they got back in return?
A third
and a fifth?
Yeah. When the Steelers traded Antonio Brown after that entire fiasco, when they traded Antonio Brown to the Raiders, they got a third round and a fifth round pick back. That third round pick in 2019 was Deontay Johnson.
Great trade.
That is lit. That's pretty cool. That's pretty
cool. It's a great trade.
So they traded Antonio Brown, a great receiver, and got Deontay, who's a great receiver now.
Is there a better organization at drafting the wide receiver position than the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I just the Vikings.
All right, I'll name a few. Just going back in time a little
bit.
The
Bengals are great.
Okay, hear me out. You have
Steelers track record's different.
You have
yes,
Juju. You have Deontay Johnson. Now going back further than that, you have Mike Wallace. You have Emmanuel Sanders. You have Hines Ward. At least over these last couple of years, Steelers have been perfect, or at least being able to develop the wide receiver position. The Steelers got it for me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Steelers are probably at the top of organizations that know how to draft the receiver position. But the Vikings, Randy Moss, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Sidney Rice, who had a couple good seasons. Percy Harvin was very good. They did miss on
drafted by them.
Yeah, he was. He was undrafted, right? I believe, but he was signed as an undrafted free agent. Who else? I mean, who else did they? Oh, they missed on Cordero Patterson. They missed on Laquan Treadwell. So they've had their misses. They've had their misses for sure. And the Bengals, Chad Ochocinco, TJ Hushmanzada. T.
Higgins, Jamar now.
T. Higgins, Jamar, AJ Green. Yeah, they've had a great track record of drafting receivers.
Didn't even name Mapletron. Shout out to Mapletron.
Chase
bro.
Claypool,
He's nice.
yeah.
He's nice.
Who's
He's
Mapletron?
Nice.
Claypool.
It's Claypool.
I mentioned him.
Facts, but I didn't mention him when I was listing my guys.
Yeah, so Mapletron. That's his nickname?
Yeah.
Such a
I
weird
like
nickname.
it. It's stupid. It's definitely stupid, but I definitely like it.